Hey, there's Wisconsin Wine Guy. We are back with another wine review. It's starting to warm up now. I don't know about you, but I like the sunshine. In fact, I love the sunshine. So as it starts to warm up, your wine style begins to change. I know mine does, and I hope yours does as well. As we get into this, cooler, warmer, hot season part of the year, we want to drink wines a lot more refreshing, light, whether it be red or white wines. We want to go for that big oaky stuff, unless, you're out to dinner, you're having this a big, huge, meal of robust flavors, then maybe. But for the most part, we're sitting out on a pool, we're grilling out, we're having a good time, keeping everything light and happy and smiles. So that's what we're doing here. So those who are new, again, as I said, I'm your Wisconsin wine guy, and I'd like to do reviews of wines that I call everyday drinking wines. Everyday drinking wines, meaning that you can find these wines wherever you shop for wine, liquor store, grocery store, and some wine shop shelves. I select a few wines, give them a taste, give you my opinion with my infamous thumb rating system. Very simple, very scientific as well. Thumbs up. I recommend that wine. It's a pretty solid wine. Can't go wrong with it. I think it's a great everyday drinking wine. Good value. 3/4. You know what? I would serve that wine at my party. If I'm doing like a party, I would have bulk wine. This would be a good wine to serve at my party that I believe my guests would enjoy. Something that's versatile for everyone. Halfway. Ooh, something about that wine didn't work with my palate. Does not make it a bad wine, but you taste it, then let me know, the rest of us know what you thought about the wine. Thumbs down. Always an easy one, right? And every now and then there's the double thumbs up. So let's get into it. As you can see, we are going to be tasting the Kendall Jackson's Vintners Rsv. Now, Kendall Jackson has been around for a long time, and making wine. I mean, in fact, back in the early days of drinking wine, Kendall Jackson was one of my go-to wines, as it was for a lot of people, Kendall Jackson. But as we begin to drink different wines, we claim that our palate has become more refined. But you know what? Truth be told, it's just about drinking wine, having a good time, right? But every now and then we want to up our game. But we cannot overlook the wines for everyday drinking. And that's why I do what I do. So let's give it a taste. We're going to be sampling the 2021 Sauvignon Blanc. New vintage will probably be 2023. And we're going to be sampling the 2023 Pinot Gris, both from California. 2023 will be the current vintage. Screw caps on them both. Your Pinot Gris is coming in at 13.5% alcohol, and your Sauvignon Blanc is coming in at 13.5% alcohol. Now, something unique about both of these wines will be this. Your Pinot Gris is going to be a blend. It has a blend of some European varietals. So it's going to have a little bit of Gruner Veltliner. It's going to have some Viognier. It's going to have some Pinot Blanc and some Albarino inside the Pinot Gris. When we move into a Sauvignon Blanc, 15% of that is going to be fermented in American oak. Give it a little bit more body, but not skimping on the fresh qualities of Sauvignon Blanc and that racy acidity. But we're going to find out, all right? So I'm going to, you know how I do it. I always do the Sauvignon Blanc second, just in case that Sauvignon Blanc is very potent, very strong, very robust. I don't want it to kill the wine that I'm going to be tasting next. Okay? I pulled these out of the refrigerator about 10, 15 minutes ago. I want to have a cool temperature on them, not so much chill, because I actually want to taste the wine. I love screw caps. I don't know about you, I love screw caps. Now, when I was in my store, of course, I stood on ceremony with the cork. But when screw caps came in the game, it was great being in the store. You can set those wines up, stand them up, then you have to worry about dried out corks, right? So let's look at that color. It's funny how they both have similar colors. The Pinot Gris is a little bit lighter versus the Sauvignon Blanc, but very nice in color, very nice and clean tasting, looking. And I want to say this also. Ooh, it just smells so good. There's also some Chardonnay in this Pinot Gris. Ooh, that just smells so good. Both of them. Now, I like to taste wines from the same winery to get that thumbprint. What are they trying to say to me with these wines across the board? Instead of going up and down, are they going for fruit? Are they going for complexity? Are they going for acidity? Let's find out what that thumbprint is when it comes to the wine. And I would say both of these are from the California appellation. Okay, your Pinot Gris, the grapes are primarily sourced from Monterey, whereas your Sauvignon Blanc, the grapes are going to come from the northern part, Mendocino and Lake County, and in addition to the coastal, Monterey, Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo. All right, so you have quite a few different influences where the grapes are coming from here, and here we're going, straight coastal with Monterey. Let's get a nose. Like I said, they smell so good just from here. Oh, wow. Now, interesting. Naming all those grapes that was in this wine. And if you had those grapes before, or had a chance to smell those wines made with those grapes, you can pick up on those. And right away, the subtle floral qualities you get from the Viognier, you pick up some of that. You get nice citrus notes, almost like a honeysuckle. Pear, apple. I mean, there's a lot going on here when it comes to the nose. This Pinot Gris with all those different grapes. Wow, that's fantastic. And that coastal breeze. I just like doing that. So now for the Sauvignon Blanc. Now, what I'm looking for the Sauvignon Blanc, even though it's spent some time, 15% of the wine is spent fermented in oak, American oak, it shouldn't overtake, again, those qualities from the Sauvignon Blanc. So here we go. Oh yeah. So on the nose, you definitely, now the Sauvignon Blanc nose and taste from any place other than New Zealand is not going to be the same, okay? And in California, you'll find quite a few of Sauvignon Blancs that spend some time or a small percentage in oak barrels. Again, giving a bit more body, more fullness to the substance to the wine itself. But on the nose, you pick up the grapefruit. You pick up some like apple, pear, melon notes. And then subtle, kind of like a caramelized pineapple. But that's probably too strong, So let's not go that far. But you do pick up subtle vanilla notes in the background. Very, very subtle. They're there. Now for the taste. Here we go. What do you say? The taste, the proof is always in the taste. Two-step process. Tasting, 1 for acidity, 2 for the taste of the wine. Here we go. Oh, nice balanced acidity here on that wine. Mouth is still watering. Great finish. Oh, I'm going too far. This is acidity test. Sauvignon Blanc. Across the board, the acidity is very well balanced in both of these wines. Oh, very nice, very nice. Now, tasting, I kind of let it out of the bag on the Pinot Gris. So let's jump to the Sauvignon Blanc. You definitely get that fullness, for the Sauvignon Blanc, and brings it all together. That 15% of barrel aging, and it doesn't skip on that ripe, crisp taste. You get from Sauvignon Blanc, but it adds a nice little subtle richness to the Sauvignon Blanc. I'm gonna go backwards now. I think these are pretty much equal. Oh wow, that is lovely. Okay, both would be dry. And I like what they did here. Bringing a nice, balanced, crisp, refreshing wine across the board, whether it be the Sauvignon Blanc or the Pinot Gris. This is a 2021, so we're talking almost 4 years old. So I had time to mellow out a little bit, but I'm curious what the current vintage would taste like. If I can find it, I'll taste it and do a review of it. But across the board, I like that in the Vintners Rsv, there's a consistency of balance. There's a consistency of quality and fruit, going to both of these, but not overly fruity. So I really enjoy this. With the Pinot Gris, because all the other grapes, you definitely get a melange of different flavors on your palate. I mean, it's forever changing on the palate. but very clean. Wow. And we're talking about small percentages of some of these, but a Viognier, is very pronounced, like Sauvignon Blanc, but not in that acidity style. But Viognier has a nice little nose itself, and nice little taste itself that stands out. So it doesn't take much, okay? And Albarino, wow, I mean, there's just so much of going on in this Pinot Gris. Okay, let's move on. Let's get to the grading here on these two wines. I like how they didn't call this a Fumé Blanc. Definitely, again, you pick up on that subtleness of its barrel aging, give a little bit more bite, a little bit more roundness to it. So, Wisconsin wine guy. When it comes to the Vintners Rsv, again, I've always been a fan of Vintners Rsv because they're consistent. They're always consistent. And it's very rarely, people are talking about other varietals other than their Chardonnays or their Pinot Noirs or their Cabernets, but we're going to do something different. I have two more that I'm going to be doing from the Vintners Rsv, but I wanted to do just in two, so I'll do a part 2 video. Now, Pinot Gris. I'm just loving it. I'm digging it. I'm gonna give that a double thumbs up. This, I mean, for the price, $10.99 to $14.99 for both of these, you can't go wrong with it. For a great everyday drinking wine. I think it would be a fantastic crowd pleaser for those who want a little bit of fruit. I think it'd be great going with different foods. I think we'll enjoy this. So double thumbs up for the Pinot Gris. I like all the different things that's happening there. And then for the Sauvignon Blanc. Again, not a full-blown type of Fumé Blanc, but very delicate. It doesn't have that in-your-face type of grapefruit that most people will come to enjoy, but it does have the grapefruit characteristics to it, but blended with that small percentage that was fermented in barrel. It gives it a nice roundness, nice body. I'm going to give it a double thumbs up too. Double thumbs up for both of these. Again, Kendall Jackson's Vintners Rsv is just very consistent. These are two different vintages, 2023 and 2021. I'm curious to find out what's going to happen beyond for the Pinot Gris and try to bring myself current on the 2021 for the Sauvignon Blanc. There you have it. Double thumbs up for both of these. It's your Wisconsin wine guy saying, as always, let your palate be the guide when selecting your wine. And I'm going to see you next time. Maybe I can find some food with these. Maybe. Ciao!